So start again, Ann.
Okay, so as I said, the wireless communication in general is too big a topic for one presentation. So I'm going to concentrate on wireless communication in the home. And I'm also leaving out like talking to Dan by yelling from the next room, right? It's wireless, but doesn't count.
Technically wireless, eh?
Okay, so I'm going to start out with this lovely picture of the electromagnetic spectrum. Probably most of you know this already, but most of the communication, the wireless communication, not all, but most of it is going through the electromagnetic spectrum, and that includes the infrared and that sort of thing. And their low frequencies travel further and penetrate solid objects better. That's why those X-rays can, and high frequencies can transmit data faster. So that's why we have a lot of different products out there, depending on what you want to use them for. But another set of transmission is by sound waves, which is not connected to the electromagnetic spectrum, and the difference is the sound waves need a medium to go through, and the electromagnetic waves don't. So that's why we can't yell at people who are in space and expect them to hear anything. Okay, so okay. Also, I'm going to limit this to communication between devices. Okay, there's a lot of communication that's not between devices, but that's what we're interested in. Okay, so I found this ultimate guide to wireless signals. See if I can get it to load up here. Yes, there it is. Okay, different types of signals. It's a very compact way of looking at everything. Radio waves, all these different kinds, and a little bit of description. And anyway, the print is very small on this, but it was kind of handy for me to look at when I was trying to organize my presentation. And there's some things on here that I did not I'm not going to talk about because there's so many of them. But if you're interested, I will be giving this PDF file to Hugh to put up, and you could look at, you get the link later if you
Thank you.
are interested. Okay, so, whoops, now I've gone on to the next, yes, I wanted to anyway. Okay, so there are some types of devices where the electronic or whatever communication is only on one end. For instance, the clapper. Do you remember the clapper? Clap on, clap off. Well, it is receiving data, but it's not between two devices unless you count yourself as a device, right? And the same thing with these infrared sensors. They are receiving data about temperature, but it's not really between two devices. And the same thing with speakers. They're just sending it one way. So. But we do have some one-way communication that is between two devices. Here's a TV remote that's infrared, and the TV gets all kinds of information from the remote, but the remote's not getting any information from the TV. And the same thing with the baby monitors. You really only want them to be one way, because especially these RF ones, which are not very secure, because you don't want anybody who's passing by and is on the right frequency to be listening to what's on the other end of the baby monitor, especially if it's in your bedroom. So it's good that those things are one way. Okay. So early uses of communication between two devices. here's a early television remote, and I don't know if any of you know, what medium did Zenith use to communicate with the television set?
My first one had a cord on it that you plugged in a little earphone jack with a
Yes.
30-foot cord.
Well, this one, it makes one of four sounds.
Oh, really?
And they're little prongs inside. They go boing or bling or
That's
okay,
funny.
and the television has a little microphone and it listens for those sounds, and
Wow.
it's channel up, channel down, volume up, volume down.
Wow. Ah, that's interesting. Yeah.
Wow, that's
So
cool.
so it's not really electromagnetic.
No.
That's the sound that I. So.
The
But
one
there are not
before
a lot
was
of in the home ones that do sound between two, but there are a few. Okay, so this was one of the very early remotes. Okay, so when people first started having these devices in their home, one of the early ones they wanted to have was a cordless telephone, 'cause telephone cords are such a nuisance. And Dan and I had one of those early ones, and I believe we had a choice of four channels that you could. There's a little
Right.
slider. You could pick four channels, and you just had to hope nobody in your neighborhood was
Oh,
on the same channel.
Right.
Okay, so and actually there was somebody in our neighborhood that was on the same channel, and they had a teenage girl, and so
ah,
if we'd pick up her phone when
that's funny.
she was talking,
That's funny.
it could be quite interesting.
Yeah, that's
But luckily we had a switch. We could switch to another channel.
there you go.
But the thing is, they weren't that as common in those days, and so the likelihood of there being more than three other neighbors within the range of your phone, because
Hmm.
we'd only go a couple of houses up the street.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So there's a Wikipedia article here about the cordless phone that you can read if you really want to know. I'm not going to pick it up right now. Okay. So another early use, and they're still using these today, are analog wireless headphones and speakers. So the one on the right here, Dan and I have this in our house, and we use it every day. So
That's over 25 years old, and
yes, it is.
that's a
And
Radio Shack thing that
Wow.
you got for your father so he could hear the television.
yes.
Wow.
So there's a couple of uses for these. Um, I like to watch television when I'm standing in the kitchen, which is actually the next room, but there's a pass through there. There's a hole in the
Yeah.
wall, so I can see the television. But when things are bubbling on the stove and the microwave's going, I can't hear it. So I turn on this little speaker and then I can hear it. And it has two channels. So you have a choice of two channels
Great.
yeah. But luckily nobody else is around using any of these anymore. And if they did, all they would hear is, I don't know, McHale's Navy or something. Yeah. And the analog wireless headphones are still much in use because the digital ones have some drawbacks for musicians and recording people.
Not really.
And even for people who just want to use them to listen to television or something like that, if you have a speaker on in the room, the digital, no, sorry, the analog headphones are fine, but if you have digital headphones, there's a delay and you get a horrible
Wow.
echoing sound.
Not really.
Okay.
And you can
Unfortunately,
wear those ones while you're on a scooter.
yeah. Well, if you're just listening to music and you're the only one listening to it, you'll be anyway. But these analog devices are susceptible to radio interference, and these days people have so many of these devices in their house that are leaking RF that sometimes the sound quality is not that good, which you don't care about if you're watching McHale's Navy, but if it was a symphony, you might care. All right. Okay, so now some other things, baby monitors and garage door openers. And the garage door openers, those analog ones, turned out to be very insecure. They only had a certain number of codes they could send, and many garages had their doors opened.
Yeah.
Quickly. So, yeah. Okay, so now we come to wireless digital communication. Okay, and I found a couple of good articles about this. The different types of wireless devices by James Edmiston. You can read that one if you like later on. It has some good descriptions of them. And this one about the top five wireless protocols. I found this I'm going to click on this one and load it up. Because, oh, sorry. That's what happens when you have clumsy fingers. It's got a lot of interesting description that you could read, but further down there's a nice chart. Wait, come on, it's a chart. There it is. Okay, which I can enlarge. I can't show it all at once if I enlarge it, but you can see that it's got a very good comparison of all the frequencies and topologies, the power consumptions, everything that you might want to know about different kinds. Now, Bluetooth, I'm pretty sure everybody's familiar with Bluetooth, okay? But I hadn't heard of BLE, which is Bluetooth Low Energy. So I'll talk about that one a bit later. And Bluetooth mesh. We had a presentation, I guess maybe about a year ago, where we were talking about mesh systems and how they worked. And so I'm not really going to go into that, except to say that they do help your signals get to where you want them. You know? So, and Wi-Fi, everybody knows about Wi-Fi. And then they had these three over here that I had actually not heard of. And near the end of the presentation, I just might ask if anybody else has. So, because I put them on one of the screens, but after reading about it, it didn't seem to be all that exciting. What can I say? All right. So now I'm going to go back to the presentation again. Make sure I didn't skip anything. No. Okay. All right. Wi-Fi. This family of wireless network protocols based on this IEEE standard here. And the local area networks are created when the data is sent and received by digital devices. And the devices have to have a wireless adapter in them. And so all those Internet of Things that are working on wireless, they've all got a little adapter in them. And then you know that your laptop or desktop has one. And actually, one of my laptops was so old that the wireless adapter wouldn't work anymore, and I had to get a dongle to put in. So, and so you can hook up all kinds of different things to your wireless, and you probably have. So the advantage over analog, well, speed, of course, but error checking is important, and security, which those older things didn't have. And of course, the Internet of Things, doorbells, printers, storage devices, all kinds of things that you can hook together. As I was saying, the newer routers might not support the older protocols. So if it's a computer, you can get a USB device to put it in. But if it's a device that you ordered in from China, you know, a camera or some sensor or something like that, you may not be able, it may age out, you know. So as a computer, you can usually update. Okay. And I just put in about the wireless repeaters, but they don't seem to be needed so much anymore. And maybe unless you want to have wireless out in your garage in the backyard or something. So I had not heard of this term called beam forming. There's a Wikipedia article about it. But it's quite long. But anyway, so beam forming is why your router has all these antennas And by using the antennas, it can shape the Wi-Fi signal and send it off in a specific direction if it determines that that's where the user is asking for the signal from. And I guess it's more recently, the reason that these newer routers have even more antennas is because now the protocols can use up to 8 antennas to direct the signal. And because of that, if you have 2 or 3 users in the house, it can direct the signal 2 or 3 ways. So, and then you probably have used these two most common bands, the 2.4 and the 5 gig, and I'm not going to go on too much about them. All right, hotspots. Well, there's ways that you can use your Wi-Fi with a cell phone, and it's two directional. If you have a cell signal but no Wi-Fi, you can make a hotspot. Many of you probably have made hotspots. I tried making one with my cell phone, but I've only got 1 gig of data for the month, and so I used most of it up in an hour and a half. So, so I stopped anyway. But those of you with unlimited cellular data can make a hotspot. Okay, but something that's a little bit less common, Wi-Fi calling. Now, Dan had a phone that would do this years ago, but it kind of did it in a roundabout way by using some networks that it wasn't really supposed to use. But apparently it's becoming more common, and some cell phones are having it built in to them that if you're on the cell system and then you come to a place with Wi-Fi, it can switch to using Wi-Fi. Or if there's no cell signal, it'll try for a Wi-Fi and that sort of thing. So there's a Wikipedia article about that too, and I haven't tried to do that. I'm sure my phone won't do it. It was only an $80 phone, so there. Okay. Bluetooth. Okay, so very short range, because of course the more power you have, the more your range goes up. And it's intended to be low power because they want short range for these things. So there's the UHF signal gigahertz that it uses. But it's much slower data transfer rates than Wi-Fi. You wouldn't want to use Bluetooth for some of these things like watching movies or something like that. So, but it can be connected to a lot of devices. And I didn't know until I looked it up that AirTags use Bluetooth. And the way they do that, even though it's short distance, is they just connect to the Bluetooth of anyone who's walking by, and that Bluetooth passes it to the next Bluetooth and back to Apple, where they have a database. Now, I'd heard of local area networks, but I hadn't heard of personal area networks. And that's Bluetooth. It's really, it's your personal devices that mostly you're using it for. You wouldn't use it in your workspace for something that 50 people are using. It's not intended for that. Okay. All right. You guys are quiet. Are you still there?
Well, we're here. We're here. We're enraptured.
Okay. All right. More about Bluetooth. The Dan has hearing aids. I don't know if any of the rest of you do, but it helps him a lot when his Bluetooth headphones hook up to his cell phone or other things that help him hear better without bothering other people by turning things up too loud. On the other hand, sometimes that means he's the only one that can hear. So, because the Bluetooth will connect automatically. So, because Bluetooth is low power, then you could get a lot of long battery life out of your Bluetooth devices. But the sound quality is less than with wired devices.
Oh yeah.
Although there's less chance of noise, like from the 60 or what is it, the hum sound from your electrical system, or if your refrigerator is running or that sort of thing. But there's a problem with digital delay with these that you don't get with the analog devices. If our television is on and I put on some headphones with the Bluetooth headphones, it's about a quarter second behind, and sometimes a half a second behind. And that, unless your headphones are really thick and you can't hear both, it's kind of annoying. And if you were trying to connect to another speaker that was in the next room, it would just not work too well. So you can't mix the analog sound with the digital sound.
Well, actually, I managed to do that with a Logitech Bluetooth transceiver and analog high-end speakers, and it worked beautifully.
Well, there's no delay.
Nope, none whatsoever. That's why I did it that way.
The Bluetooth can be very annoying if you're watching something and the lips have stopped moving, but you're still hearing the voice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
It doesn't have to be. It can be like a millisecond, but it's still. Man, is it ever? Yeah.
now people that are using sound in, say, a hall where they have a variety of speakers, they have to sort of tune their speakers to the amount of delay, depending on how far they are from the stage and that sort of thing. And so I'm sure that you could delay the analog to match the digital.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Well, the good thing with the Logitech one is the Bluetooth signal is constant all the time, whereas with the Bluetooth that's built into the speakers, it isn't. So if you run it in analog, it's going through a constant connection through the Logitech receiver.
so what causes the delay is the fact that the sound that comes to it is analog, but it has to be digitized, and it takes just a little bit of time for the software to do that digitization, and then at the other end, a little bit of time to undo it and make it back into sound again. So the better your equipment is, the less that delay will be. And
Well,
it's
the frequency it's using has a lot to do with it too. It can interfere with USB. If you've got more than 4 USB drives connected to a hub, your Bluetooth probably won't work. That was why I contacted Logitech and found a transceiver that they had that actually got around that. I even asked Leo, about the askleo.com. He didn't know. He didn't know how to solve it. It was one problem that stumped him.
Well, you would think that you said you went to Logitech. They should be experts.
And they managed to come up with a solution that worked.
Yes. So, okay, so I play online over the internet with people from around North America, and so there's always some kind of delay just because the internet has delay, but you want to minimize it. So if you wear Bluetooth speakers, that sort of doubles it. I'm sorry, headphones. It sort of doubles it. So I always use wired speakers, but I could also, if I had a good set, I could use analog headphones, but I don't have any, so I just use the wired ones. So so there are situations where it causes a problem. Oops, what did I do here? Oh yeah, sorry, I was doing it right. Okay, so when we were discussing this at the executive meeting, Peter mentioned near field communication. I hadn't thought of that, but it is wireless communication, even though it's not going very far. So inductive coupling between two magnetic coils, which means each of your things has to have a magnetic coil in it. And you can do wireless charging, and here's I think it's an iPhone there, sitting on its little pad being charged. It's up to 29%. It was up to 29% the last time I looked too, so it's probably not very fast charging. So,
My desk lamp has that pad, but it only works on an iPhone, and I haven't got one. But yeah, same principle. Yeah.
yes. Well, they could have made it so it would charge any phone that had the wireless coil in it, right? But they didn't want to. So.
Yes.
Okay, so those tap to pay contactless payment systems, they work with near field communication, and you hold your phone up to at the GO train, and it will take your money. So you can also exchange data between two adjacent devices like smartphones. Yeah, I guess you have to enable that, but you can just send data directly between the two phones. Just put them closely enough. And then I found this picture of what it looks like inside one of those cards, like a credit card that you can tap. And apparently where this little wire is where the chip is supposed to be, but the chip is gone. But all this metal in there is the antenna. So I guess any of us could take our cards apart and have a look. So.
Just order a new one before you do it.
Yeah, wait till it's out of date. Yeah. All right. Okay. So here's some other ones. Bluetooth low energy. I mentioned that before. Apparently it's not compatible with Bluetooth. So, and Z-Wave, it's intended to connect multiple Internets of Things devices like smart doors and garage door openers. But I think they have to be enabled for it. It's not that just any old camera or doorbell or whatever would work with it. You'd have to. And Zigbee is supposed to be, it uses a mesh network to do the same thing, and it's supposed to be simpler and less expensive. And there's another one called Thread. So it's for battery operated devices, low power. And I had not heard of any of these. And if some of you have and know what they might be good for, speak up now.
I have a indoor-outdoor thermometer, and the pads I have it mounted into the post out front, and then on
Yes.
the display it tells you the outdoor temperature. But I don't know, is that Bluetooth? Is that Wi-Fi? It can't be Wi-Fi. It must be Bluetooth. I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah. It's well,
Yeah,
because
I had one too, and it was sitting across the room from me and outside on the fence, but I had to put batteries in the sender
Yeah, you put batteries in the
regularly.
sensor, and the sensor lights up with the red dot. When the red dot's gone, the battery's gone.
Mhm.
And then the display sits on the phone table, which is in the kitchen. So we're talking 30 feet. So I'm not sure what it, yeah,
Well, is the
works
range
really good
different
though.
on all four of those? Is the range different for each one of those?
No, it's just one sensor outside, and then
No, on these four, the Z-Wave and Zigbee and Thread,
yeah, I don't know.
are they all
I
the same distance or?
and that chart
well, we could look at that chart here.
Good.
Okay, and it tells range. Okay. Looks like Thread goes a little bit further. The other three here, BLE, and Z-Wave, and Zigbee, are all about 100 meters. But I did notice that the data rate, which is kind of important for some things, probably not for the temperature,
No,
but
no.
for on Z-Wave, is way more. It's more like oh no, it's just
Yeah, it's just 100 kilobits per second.
no, it's still not. I was
Half
looking
of
at the
the other
wrong thing.
two, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this is gigabytes, this is kilobytes. Yeah. So they're not, they don't go very fast. And I'm not sure, it seems like one of those situations where there's a bunch of things that do the same thing, like beta and VHS, and eventually one of them is going to take over. So,
I'm wondering about older Bluetooth and newer Bluetooth because, I think it started out as a 4, Bluetooth 4, and then it was 5, 5.1, 5.
Well, they're up to 7 now, aren't they?
I just don't
For
know.
Bluetooth, no, 5.2 is the fastest Bluetooth.
Yeah, but I guess what you're getting out of that is range, is it? With the higher number on the Bluetooth? I'm not sure.
No, I think it's just a little bit faster frequency, isn't it?
Oh, they changed the
Data
frequency.
rate.
Yeah,
Well,
I
and
think so.
that should give you more range, perhaps.
No.
okay,
No?
so one of the things that I was reading about was you've got bandwidth and you've got data rate. So the
Yeah.
bandwidth is the potential speed that things could go, like the
How
amount
big
of
the
data.
pipe is.
Like but just because you've got more bandwidth doesn't necessarily mean, like, it also depends on the rate at which the data is being sent, how efficient the software is, what the error rate is. There's all kinds of other things that would make your data rate not be optimum, but your bandwidth would still look like it was the same.
So the bandwidth would be like a 6-inch drain pipe, but if you only have a trickle of water going through it, you're not using the full 6 inches. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
then the bandwidth is measured in hertz or megahertz or gigahertz, and the data rate is like bits per second or that sort of thing. So yeah, it's like drops of water. You've got a pipe, and then how many drops of water are falling down it? So
Right.
yeah, so the bandwidth is more of a potential, and a lot of times, you have all this bandwidth and you're not even using it, right? So your data rate is terrible right then, maybe because you're not doing anything. So
Ding-a-ling, ding-a-ling-a-ling, hear me sing.
I just recall that the first Bluetooth went 30 feet, but this says 100 meters, so it must be one of the newer Bluetooth distances.
well, Dan, those Bluetooth headphones that I wear when I'm watching TV sometimes.
Yeah, you can go right outside.
Our yard, I guess from the TV to the back of our lot is at least 100 feet, and it works fine until I go around behind the barn, and then it.
Right.
So and that's very old set. I'm sure it's not the latest protocol. So the newer ones probably will go further than that, and that may or may not be a good thing. Like if part of the idea with the short range is for security and not overlapping with other people's.
Yeah,
So,
this little Bluetooth thing I'm listening to Zoom on is an AR product, and it must be 20 years old. The writing is too small on the back, so I can't tell what kind of Bluetooth it is. But it has a battery. I can walk around for a couple hours as long as I don't go too far from the sender, which plugs into the USB port.
so I am going to stop sharing. Okay. I did have one more object here that I have that hasn't been mentioned, and this is my infrared keyboard. So it's got a dongle that goes into the USB port, and so
Yeah, like wireless keyboard and wireless
so
mouse.
these wireless keyboards can be RF, they can be infrared, they can be Bluetooth. They make all kinds, and I'm not sure. One doesn't seem to have won out yet.
That makes it like a big remote control.
Well, yes, because it's only one-way communication. You push a letter, your computer knows you did it, right? That's all. So,
Well, it's the same.
Keyboard is actually two-way.